Welcome back to It Resolves, where we play a new deck every single day. Today's deck is Dimir Necro. What is going on, everybody? And yes, we are back. I know yesterday we actually missed a video. I am very sorry for that. I had a lot of technical issues, fun fact. Game kept crashing, all kinds of stuff. I'm hoping we're past that, but we will hopefully be making up for it a little bit this week with some extra stuff. You may have noticed late last week, we actually did a little bit of a new series, just kind of a mini series. It's not meant to be like the main push of the content, but we released a video called MTG and Chill, and it was essentially just some gameplay with some music in the background, very chill vibes, just getting through a few games, practicing with a deck. And I thought it would be a really fun way to get you guys a little bit more gameplay action. You guys can kind of build your own commentary, so to speak, and just see, you know, what your thoughts are. Would you have taken a different line? Something along those lines. Worst case scenario, it's just something to put on in the background. If you want to watch some gameplay, it's there for you. There's not a whole lot, I mean, there's literally no commentary, but it is a nice way of just kind of sitting back and enjoying the game. And so we may do a little bit more of that this week and hopefully get some extra content out there for you guys, because I do practice a lot. And so might as well show you those games as well, is kind of my theory. So all that to say, do expect a little bit of that later this week. Now today, we have a Dimir Necroduality zombie list. This is a very strong list in my opinion. I made some tweaks based on a number of other lists that I was kind of building off of, including J-Villain's list and things like that. But the important thing here is that the addition of Archschool of Thraben really sets this deck apart, because you kind of expect a lot of zombies to die. I completely forgot about this card, but with Decayed, you're gonna have zombies die, and this allows you to smooth out your next draws and hopefully draw more cards throughout the course of the game. Now, it doesn't always work, of course. Sometimes you hit lands, you brick, whatever, but you can just throw those cards into the graveyard and get the cards that you need to hopefully close out the game. Now, the deck is based on Necroduality, so the idea being that we can get a lot of extra zombies out with this card, which is really helpful, and works exceedingly well with things like Champion of the Perished, which wants extra zombies to come into the battlefield. So as every zombie comes into play, you get a +1/+1 counter on the champion. So it's really gonna bolster itself up. We've got a lot of little interactive pieces as well. So Eaten Alive is a great way to deal with planeswalkers or creatures. Cut Down is a good way to kind of get some of the early game stuff out of the way. We do have 2 Make Disappears here as well, just for some soft counter spells, as well as a single Flip the Switch. Not necessarily an amazing card in my opinion, but I did kind of want to test it out here. I saw a number of other decks actually utilizing this, and so I felt like it was worth at least keeping one in. This is a much less interactive version of the list and much more proactive on our own game plan. And I think that's better given the exclusion of Meathook Massacre from the metagame, because you can commit a little bit more to the board and you've got a little bit more time to kind of handle the opponent's life total. We also do have Overcharged Amalgam, which can counter a spell, an activated ability, or a triggered ability. So depending on what we need at any given time, we do have that as kind of a top end play. Also a great finisher against decks that just don't really run that many flyers. So hopefully we can get there with that. We do have Tainted Adversary, one of the best 2-drops in this deck, as well as the Blade Stitched Scab, just powering everything up. So pretty straightforward deck for the most part, but there's a lot of really cool little synergies and interactions that I'm hoping we'll get to see throughout these games. So I'm not gonna waste any more time, guys. Let's go ahead and jump right into the games for this one. And again, it's good to be back. I'm sorry I missed yesterday, just some tech difficulties, but we're back. We got this. So let's jump into game 1. All right, guys, here we are for game number 1, and yeah, we'll definitely keep this a little bit sketchy from the sense that our first play is probably either the Scab or that Make Disappear, and neither I'd rather it be the Make Disappear, honestly. So we'll see what happens here, but I think we can pretty safely just lead with the Shipwreck Marsh and not really have to worry about too much. Technically, it would be more correct, I think, to throw the blue source out as like a Fading Hope, but I think we're actually just going to pass here. Normally, I would like to be a little more proactive, but I think Make Disappearing whatever their turn 2 play is and then being able to drop that Archschool might actually be the best call, and I think it is here. Catilda is certainly a spell we don't want on the field, so I'm very happy to get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and play that Archschool. And this is just going to set us up for anytime something dies, even the art school itself, we should be in a really good position to kind of start taking over. So that's very, very good. Let's go ahead and play Jadar. Let's also go ahead and play that Scab. And we'll get the attack in for 4 here. If they want to block, that's perfectly fine. I don't particularly care. And so now we will get our little 2/2. And at this point, we are kind of getting ourselves set up. So what I mean by that is we've got the Blade Stitched Scab powering up all of our creatures. We've got a Decayed Zombie that will, no matter what, die next turn because we can always attack in with it. It can't block. There's no other use for it. And so when it dies, we actually get the trigger off of that Art School. So we might get a free card off the top of our deck. If we don't, we can at least fix the top of our deck so we can get some of the cards out of there that we maybe just don't need, which is super helpful. So that is really good. Let's go ahead and Necro. And definitely just gonna attack here. We're not gonna risk killing anything else at this point, but this is a phenomenal draw. So like I said, this is gonna die. We are gonna be able to get, I'm gonna take the action to throw that into the graveyard. I'm not particularly interested in another land at this point, but next turn we actually get a Blade Stitch Scab that's gonna be coming down as 2 Blade Stitch Scabs. So we should be able to really get somewhere with this. And again, that's really gonna bolster up these Decayed Zombies. Now that's definitely scary, but again, we'll do the best we can. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, so we definitely just attack in again with the Decayed Zombie. They obviously have a free block. That's perfectly fine. I don't particularly care. Kind of surprised they went that direction and not just blocking here, but that's cool. We will reveal that. And then now we get 2 of these guys. So now anytime any of our stuff dies, that's a non-token, we actually just get 2 more 2/2s, which is pretty good. So if they do attack in with the Queen, we'll probably want to kind of meander some blocks into here. I'm not exactly sure the best way to do it, but I think we probably will need to. Kind of interesting they're deciding to attack with these, given that we can just kind of kill them. But that's fine. I suppose they just want extra things, which is cool. So let's block here. Let's block here. And let's block here. They've got no more mana, so I'm not really all that concerned about that. Okay. Let's get another Blade Stitch Scab in there. All right, so what's the actual move is the question. I mean, this is kind of an odd place to be. So they've got a lot of blockers available, unfortunately. We can try and kind of dwindle that down, but I don't actually know that that's great. I'm gonna just attack with the Decayed Zombie. Again, I'm not 100% sure what the correct play is here. This is kind of the trick with this deck, is like, there's no trample. And so it does make it a little tricky. You're not able to just like easy take over the game. However, we do certainly have a lot of power on the field. And again, getting potentially more as we go. So that's really nice. Let's go ahead, throw that Champion down. Now, Champion is a way of us finishing the game, just to be clear. So Champion is going to continuously grow. It's already got quite a huge power buff thanks to all 5 Scabs at this point. And so we really do get quite a bit of extra bonus off of just having these on the field. Now, they are going to get a lot of stuff this turn, I have to imagine. They've got all of the lands in the world. They do have to be careful, I would assume, about tapping too many, just to lose out on the blocking potential, because we do get the opportunity to attack in here for, I think, quite a bit if they just don't go for, or if they, excuse me, tap for too much. So worth noting, but we'll see what they decide to do here. Okay. Do they have Vigilance? No. They don't have Vigilance. That's kind of interesting. So again, they're throwing themselves... It's a bit sketchy, I would suggest, but what do we want to do? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Do we just take it? It's a bit of a tricky one. I think This seems a bit odd, but I actually kind of want to get a trigger off of this just to spread things out a little. So I'm gonna block one of these to get a little bit of a safer life total, but also get a lot more of these guys and a trigger off of the ghoul. So we might be able to get a little bit more going. So to be clear, what this is doing is pumping up these champions quite a bit, but it's also, ooh, yes, oh no, whoops. I actually meant to keep that. That was a bit of a mistake. I wanted to get one of their things off the field here. So that was truthfully just kind of a mistake, but that is okay. All right, so one option is just to attack in with basically everything. We have 1 mana. Yeah, I think we just attack in and hope for the best. I don't know. I think we are fine, but I am very happy that we're able to see that Arch School really do its thing, though. This has been a very strong contender for just how good this card is, giving us so many potential draws and just extra draws throughout this game. It's really, really strong. So that is what I think is the best about this. And there we go, guys. We got the win. That was fantastic. Definitely some misplays, but we did overall pretty well. Let's go ahead and jump into game 2. This month's Patreon rewards features the amazing tutor pack with some of the most powerful tutors in Magic's history. If you'd like to learn more or sign up today, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/itresolves. All right, guys, and here we are for game number 2. Bit of an interesting hand, but I think we'll definitely keep. What I don't love about it is if we had a third land, I would be much more apt to leading on the swamp so we can get that champion down, but we don't. And so I don't know if we're gonna get another untapped land that we can actually throw out here. Now does that change the math? Not really, does it? This is actually a weird place to be. I'm gonna go, I think, the generally safer route, which is to throw this down now. And that leaves up make disappear next turn if we so choose. They may just go for, leveling this little guy up, which is totally reasonable. Very annoying card, the Evolved Sleeper. We don't, like I said, run tons of removal. And so it's a little bit tricky for us to go too heavy on worrying about what's on the field, but we do have a little bit, so we'll see what we can do. They duressed us, which is kind of interesting. Didn't necessarily expect that. Let's be mana efficient, I think, and just get this down. This also does force them to go ahead and level this up again if they actually want to get the attack in, which is, a substantial chunk of their mana, which is fine by me. We do have that Fell Stinger, which can come down and does have Death Touch as well. So, excuse me, there is a world where we actually just get to block and kill this, kind of trade off a lot of mana, because you have to think the one downside to the Evolved Sleeper is the fact that you really do have to invest quite a bit of mana. Now, it's a great card to invest mana in, so that's not to devalue the fact that it's just a good card. But, for instance, if I just had a removal spell here, they've invested 1, 2, 3, 4 mana into a 1/1, if I'm not mistaken, and that's like all they've really been able to do because they just don't have much else to go on, which is perfectly fine. It's just something to think about. Do we exploit is the question. I think the answer is probably yes. And I do think we just exploit the Scab. As good as the Scab is, one thing that it doesn't necessarily do is actually help the toughness of your creatures, which is actually a little frustrating in a lot of circumstances. You'll notice we trade off with things quite a bit because our toughness sucks, which is normal given we're playing a zombie deck, but it is just something to consider. There's another champion. Okay. I was hoping to dig further in to get some more lands and things like that, but this should be fine. I'm curious as to if they go for that that full level up on the Evolved Sleeper, knowing that we can now just block it and trade. It's worth noting, I'm sure, yeah, they've got a removal spell. Yep, fair enough. We only take 1 now because of that, which is kind of nice, but that is kind of frustrating. Okay, that's cool. That's actually quite interesting, although we can't exploit it. So we'll go this route. I think for now, this is probably just the best bets. We'll just, you know, throw these out there. And if we do block here, it's kind of okay. We can double block. Yeah, they kill 2 things, but we actually get some things in return here as well. So I'm not as concerned with this if they decide to level up an attack. Looks like a land on their end. They could certainly have another malicious malfunction, which would not be great for us. That's a very good card against us. Yeah, there you go. Fair enough. Interesting. They are very quickly running out of things, though. They've only got 3 cards left in hand. Oh, and unfortunately, because they do get exiled, by the way, we don't get the extra thing, just as a heads up. Okay, so I think we do this. They know about the overcharged amalgam, excuse me. Do we think they're on a 3rd malicious malfunction is the question. I think we leave up the amalgam. Despite them knowing we have it, I do think this is probably just the better option. We can counter the ability of the Evolved Sleeper, so it is technically, I believe, an activated ability, given you have a cost to pay, which does allow us to exploit this if they attack or whatever, and we can do some silly things with it, but we'll see. So the question is, do I want to exploit either the champion or the amalgam? I think we exploit the amalgam, surprisingly, and then just counter that. So that way they don't draw a card. Yes, they can attack in, but again, we've got a way of building up our board again next turn, so I'm not all that concerned. This game is certainly not going as smoothly as that last game, for sure. So that is worth noting that we probably will lose this game, but I think this is like as good of a fight as we could have probably put up anyway, so that's fine. All right, let's go ahead and throw that Headless Rider down. I am gonna throw the Scab out here and not use the Make Disappear, solely because we kind of need to be able to block this guy with the Headless Rider. And I will attack in here because we have to start getting some damage in at some point, and while they're down on resources, I feel like this is probably just the best time to do it. Again, it may not work to our favor. We are kind of risking a little bit here, but, you know, we'll do the best we can. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. Guys, again, let me know your thoughts on the MTG and Chill series. I know I kind of mentioned that at the beginning or at the top of this episode. It's something that I just thought would be kind of a fun way to get a couple extra games in. I know, like, some people are probably unhappy with the fact that there's no commentary and that kind of stuff. I totally get that. That's what this series is for. That's what the true gameplay series is for. MTG and Chill is completely meant to be like in the background, just something you can watch if you're looking for, you know, an extra game or something like that to see. It's not meant to be something that is like you have to focus every little detail on. And so it just gives you a little bit of extra gameplay to watch. It's hopefully fun and hopefully relaxing, honestly. And I like it. I thought it was really fun to do. It's a nice way of like getting extra games out there, because I do play a lot of extra games that you guys don't get to see when it comes to learning a deck or just like grinding the ladder. Like, I just really like grinding the ladder sometimes. And so for me, it's a nice way of like going in and actually, you know, doing a little bit of that together. So that's fun. I think I take this block here. That might not have been correct. It might have actually been more correct to just exile this, or attack that, excuse me. That's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Very interesting. Okay, so I think we're gonna end up paying 4 here. We're just gonna get rid of you. Which allows us to attack in here. And this does give us basically a free turn. I'm sure they're gonna block the Headless Rider, yeah. Okay, that's fine. No, they're not. kind of curious how this actually goes. That Evolved Sleeper really did some work to us this game. All right, so we do take out the Sorin, which I think was a bit necessary from the perspective of we can't allow them to draw too many extra cards. They're going to get to blitz this, which is gonna suck, but, and we're gonna take, what, 5 at least? So we'll see what happens here, but that, oh no, that's really bad. All right, well, that means we might just die. Yep. Okay. Yeah, Invoke Despair is still just the bane of every player's existence that isn't playing the mono black or an Invoke style deck. So well done, opponent. That's just a killer card. All right, we will throw out this, and we are dead next turn. So we did put up a fight. We got him down to 6. I'm pretty okay with that. I'm gonna go ahead and concede though. Obviously they can just attack in, so there's really not too much to worry about there. Fair enough, guys. Let's jump into a game number 3. All right, guys, and here we are for game number 3. Bit of an interesting hand, a little awkward because we do have 2 blue cards here, but I'm actually gonna keep it based on we are on the play and we do have a Champion of the Parish. Would love to just get any playable 2-drop or a blue land here. We can go ahead and play this out and just not worry about exploiting it, but it looks like we're just gonna get the attack in, which is fine. Curious to see what this deck is up to. Okay, let's do that. Let's go ahead and play that Arch School. I think this is the better option. It's gonna get us a counter here on the champion, and then we will attack in. Not sure what they could have for 2 white mana. They could have, yeah, a little flash guy, sure. But again, now that this is out, if they double block here, it's fine. Because we at least, hopefully, just get to replace this. Cool. I will take the action. We actually don't need another black source at this point. So any black source we get will probably just go straight into the graveyard. And our hope is going to be to not have to worry about that as much. Okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw out that Headless Rider, and I think we just pass, unfortunately. We really don't have a better play. The blue cards are getting very stranded, which is just a bad keep technically, although I don't think it's been as bad as it could have been. We certainly could have just been 100% stuck, but thankfully that's not the case. Okay. Wow, another black source, okay. Sure. I mean, we play it out, and we just pass. Ugh. Okay, we'll see what happens. They're definitely gonna get an attack in here if they would like it, so we're certainly not in great shape, but we'll see what we can do. Wow, they just have so much. That's really, really good. It might be time to cash in that Arch School if they attack with the Adeline. I don't know that they want to risk it, though. That's kind of the trick. Yeah, I don't think they do. That's interesting. All right, so let's go ahead and throw this out. Another Headless Rider is never a bad thing. I will just attack here, knowing that obviously this is going to die. That's not really the point. The point is we want it to die, so we can get an Arch School trigger and hopefully find something useful off the top. A blue source would be great. Any creature is probably okay. Yeah, that's not okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, our luck is slowly running out as they do, or they will have quite a lot of power to get down onto the field here. Yeah, there's the King Darren. Certainly a terrifying card. They will be able to attack him for a lot. Yep. That's a good one. And they're going to be paying, so they can get a lot of extra triggers here, which is really good. Okay. Fair enough. So we are going to be forced into blocking. Oh, they didn't. What? All right, hold on. Well, I think at this point, it's not going to matter too much, so we'll just throw this out. Exploiting this little guy to get a trigger, and get another 2/2. And I mean, we're pretty dead, but this is still really funny. The token decks are very, very good right now. Again, another deck that obviously got a lot better thanks to Meathook's banning. That's part of why I felt zombies was at least worth trying, solely because you can't just like straight kill zombies with a Meathook Massacre anymore. Unfortunately, it does fall prey to a lot of other kind of cheaper sweepers, but they're not necessarily as commonly played, which is kind of nice. Whenever you exploit a non-token creature, whoops, that was a mistake. That's fine. We still get the creature back, so it's not really that big of a deal. But there was not really a use in attacking anyway, especially given they had the adversary. So I think I still would have made that play. Just a bit of an awkward one. But that's fine. Yep. And watch us die. Man, so sick. Just out of curiosity, let's just see what happens. So if we save ourselves as much damage as possible, it's still not anywhere close to enough. Yeah, I mean, they just have us. Let's just see how much damage they do, just out of curiosity, though. They also, yeah. Oh, man. All right, let's just see. Oof. Oh, no. Wow, good game, opponent. That was a really well played hand from the opponent. But you know what? That's cool. We got one win against the tokens deck, which is pretty good. Let's go ahead and wrap this one up. All right, guys, so Dimir Necro, how do we feel about it? Well, you know, honestly, I still think it's in a better spot than it was. Do I think it's anywhere close to as good or maybe as efficient as the, like, Selesnya kind of counterpart token deck? No, absolutely not. I think we can see that the ceiling is much higher for that Selesnya deck. What is nice about this one is all of the synergies really start to stall out the game on the opponent's end. So what I mean by that is a lot of times they feel a little bit of that second guessing kind of coming in when they go to attack because you've got so many kind of setup pieces that if you block, you get so much value. And because of that, I do think it makes combat a little bit tricky against a deck that isn't going to win outright through that combat step. So they do have to wait, build up, and hopefully get there. Now, that being said, I think we obviously could have played a lot cleaner, but we also are going to run into issues with this deck where, you know, the toughness isn't there. We don't get the spread that that token deck gets. And so naturally speaking, it's going to be a little bit trickier to really get something going. It's still really fun. Honestly, I think that was kind of my goal with this. I just wanted to have some fun with Necroduality and with just the deck, the zombie deck in general. And I miss the zombie deck. I like the zombie decks. So definitely fun to tweak with and play around with and see what you can get. So just as a suggestion, if you guys have any others or any zombie lists out there that you want to play around with, send them my way. I'd love to check them out. But thank you guys very much. I really do appreciate you watching. It's great to be back. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.